Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Sunday evening talk in town. I'm, of course, your host, the Gov. Excited to be here with you to discuss Ipswich Town FC, the week that's been. It's been a really busy week, and of course, it's 2 weeks tonight until the season will have gotten underway for our Super Blues. How do you think they'll be getting on in this time, 2 weeks' time? Is it going to be 3 points at the Stadium of Light? Are you going? Are you watching it at home on Sky? Do let us know. Of course, Talking Town will be with you every step of the way as we build up to the season, both here on YouTube, but also around other social media platforms, from Twitter to Instagram to Facebook. If you're not following us yet, why not head to your chosen platform and give us a follow, give us a like, give us a thumbs up. We're even on Threads, believe it or not. I think we are anyway. I think I did that. If I did, we're on Threads. Not that I've actually have posted on there yet, but if you're on Threads, do whatever the equivalent of liking is on Threads. As always, tonight it is live. Tonight it is the chat about the week, and we want to get you guys and girls at home involved as well. We've got a live chat, which many of you are now sort of typing into. We'd love to see. And of course, there is a link to click to come on and have your say. I'll drop it in just a second, and then I'll drop it again in another 10 or 15 minutes. We'll try and get a couple of you on this evening. So do click it. Don't delay. If you've got something to say, if you want to have your say in your own words on your football club, then don't delay. Hit the link and get involved. Phil Blundell is here. Good evening, Phil. Hope you're well. Anthony Steele. Good evening, TT people. Good evening, Anne. I hope you're well. Beep is here. Ben's here. Lots of you piling in. John B, does anyone know if Town TV will show full match replays like I follow? I'm going to star that comment there. John will come back to that when we get to Town TV. I'm not sure if Matty with 2 T's knows it yet or not, but if he does, I'm sure he'll let us know. I'm drawing a blank, but he's got a great question in regards to Town TV as well, so we'll get that in. But anything and everything, it's your show, really. It's your platform to have your say, so get involved. Let's do it. Right. Before we go any further, I've got a load of furniture in order. I'm redoing this office, hopefully one of which is a microphone. This is a temporary microphone I'm using this evening, so I can move about, hopefully. But more importantly, hopefully, it is not that bad of audio. But if you do want to support the platform, you can do so by hitting the link in the chat, by scanning the QR code right there. Look, first time. I'm getting good at this. Right there. Takes you to a link. $4.99. Cancel any point. Power is in your hands. Talking of power in your hands, let's get our co-host for the evening in. He's back. He's had his holiday. The man from Del Monte.
The media mogul.
We've just lost the teenagers. It's absolutely embarrassing.
Matt Phillips.
You've been gone so long.
I've been gone so long. Absolutely. I was trying to work it out. I think the last show I did was the fixture one when you was on your hollybobs in Greek. So that would have been what, June the 22nd? So that was a month ago, wasn't it?
God, it was only a month. It was about 10 years ago. Oh, yes. Take me back to that beach. It's been a while. So much so. Let's get your belated George Hirst signing thoughts. We've not heard your input on this matter. You know, it's 10 days ago we signed George. So
10 days, blimey.
Flies by.
Time flies. Yeah, great. I mean, slight question mark in that, you know, he's not actually done anything in the championship yet. But the fact is, you know, he came in with us in January, had a fantastic end of the season, real catalyst to getting this club promoted back to the championship, and clearly a signing that everyone involved in the club, McKenna to Ashton to the coaching staff to the other players, clearly wanted to see. So at least they've been able to get, you know, someone who was like number one on the target list.
Absolutely. And he's got a minus touch at the moment in friendlies. You know,
Yeah,
hopefully he's not using it all up before the season starts, but he's got a couple of goals, you know, one on midweek, one yesterday. Yeah. So he's brought the form that he showed in, you know, back end of last year, and he's carrying it into pre-season now. He's arrived here permanently.
Yeah, brilliant. we're going to need him to, we're going to need him to hit the ground running. I think in terms of, when we look at some of the fixtures we start with, Sunderland, Stoke, what is it then, QPR, then Leeds.
Yeah.
So it's quite a difficult August, I think. So we're going to need all the attributes that he brings, but he's clearly integral to what Ashton and McKenna wanted for the club from day one, really, because they chased him, didn't they? Right from the off, didn't get him. He went to Blackburn. Then he ends up at Town. It was meant to be, and now they've got him through the door as a permanent. And I think they got him for a good fee as well. If we were kind of debating what a good fee would be, you might recall, towards the end of last season. And I think $1.5 million plus probably promotion add-ons, so that would take you to 2 point something. It's probably good. Yeah, that's probably about right. And again, it's kind of parity with Broadhead and Taylor as well, isn't it? 1.5 seems to be the fee for these players.
Yeah, and it's a really good fee, as you mentioned. Any question marks for you in regards to your front two being Freddie and George as you head towards, as I say, 2 weeks tonight? We will be underway. We'll be having game one of the championship. I know it's come around quite quick. Yeah. But any question marks for you?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I just said at the top of the show, there's a little bit of a question mark there because he's actually untried at championship level, really. He's done very well at Portsmouth and scored goals there, and he's done very well with us. For whatever reason, it didn't work out at Blackburn. Maybe that was just a bad fit for him at that club, not his style, didn't fit in, whatever it might be.
Diaz.
At least he's coming into a club here that he knows he fits in. He knows the players, he knows the manager, he knows the supporters. We know what attributes to play to in order to get his strengths, influencing results. So we'll just have to wait and see. But we're not playing for a screen anymore, are we? We're going to be playing teams coming down from the Premier League and and sides that have kind of been around the Championship for quite a long time. So it's going to be different. But this is what happens with success. It's the next level.
It is, and the competition increases. Rob says lots of Championship pods saying we need a third striker. I would agree with that. I don't think we can go through the Championship season with the Dapo and Hirst. I think there needs to be a third one in there. But as you've said quite rightly before, Martin, you're playing one striker in your starting 11. Who wants to be the third wheel?
Yeah, you ain't going to find many takers. It might be a loan from someone from somewhere.
Yeah, maybe. Absolutely. I mean, you got Hutchinson who perhaps can play centrally for a period of time, a bit like John Jules did last year. You've got Chaplin who can play as a striker. You have got a couple of stand-in options, but I would like just a third striker, I guess. But as you said,
that's a good point. Actually, what do you want from your striker? Do you want someone who can hold the ball up and bring others into play? Therefore, Chaplin could do that role. Or do we all just automatically assume strikers comes in and scores double-figure digit goals? Because the Depot's already done that in the Championship for Rotherham, I think. All came very close to doing that. It depends what the criteria is to fit that third forward.
Fair enough. David says, nice headphones, Gov. Cheers, Dave. Appreciate that. If you could all just go and hit the like button, share this to all your friends, that would be fan-dabby-dozy. I'd really appreciate it. Ashley says, played Broadhead up front yesterday.
I was going to ask that if everyone was at that. That was the Stevenage game. Am I right in thinking that was the Stevenage game? Yeah, that was a very interesting 11, that Stevenage game, because the Cambridge one was far stronger, wasn't it? Because you had Wolfenden, Burgess, Davis, and I think Chaplin, Ladapo, Harness. That had much more of a first-team feel to it. But then you kind of flipped the coin there a little bit, and at Stevenage was Morsey and Taylor in midfield, which you've got to think is probably going to be the starting too. So it was interesting how they split that. But it was certainly looked light up front yesterday in the Stevenage game. That's for certain.
Oh, big time. Yes. We can go there now if you like. I've got a number of topics to sort of cover, but we can go straight to that one, or we can stop at Preston. You mentioned established. Well, actually, we'll go to Preston first because you mentioned a
good result.
Stepping up against established Championship sides who have been here for a long time. Well, they're one of them. Nobody, I don't think, would have Preston inside their top 10 next year. But we travelled. We played really well. We won 2-1. What were your thoughts on that friendly?
Yeah, I've seen the highlights of that one. There didn't seem to be any highlights of the games yesterday, other than what Rich was sent over to us from the stands. But I saw the Preston ones. Interesting, Ryan Lowe thought they looked jaded, Preston.
Already?
Your season ended in May 2 months ago. What are you talking about? But I mean, he was kind of saying good things about Town. Probably the fact that because they've just lost to us. A bit of damage limitation to himself, maybe a little bit. But it looked a good performance in the electric orange. I'm liking this orange away
Are
strip.
you? Are you?
I'm a big fan of that
Nice.
one. I like that. I mean, look, what a hit from Chaplin on the edge of the box. I think left-footed, I think, drilled it. He doesn't look like he's been away at all, does he, with a finish like that, compared to his, 29 goals last season. And then I think it was a nice little counter-attacking move, wasn't it? Ball put through to Hirst, and he just clips it past the keeper. So I think Preston one of those sides that aren't going to go up and they're not going to go down either. So, I mean, that's probably quite a good test to see how you fare against, like we're saying, one of these kind of sides that are just established in the Championship, either going up or down, I don't think.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mentioned it midweek when we did the Preston reaction show with Richard Chandler. If teams are going to, and you can't always gauge it from pre-season, but if teams are going to back off and allow Wolfie and our back line to have as much freedom and time and not play a high press, that's really going to suit us, because against Preston, they were quite intent to let us have it there. But the moment it went into midfield to Morsey or Luongo, that's when they triggered their press. I'm happy if you do that, because Wolfie can pick a pass. Wolfie can step forward from the back line. We know what he can do with the ball at his feet. So I'm quite intrigued now, having seen that game, to just see how Sunderland and everyone else was going to play playing Town. What's their press? Where is their trigger point going to be? Yeah,
it would seem stupid if you'd watched League One football last season to think you can give Ipswich loads of time on the ball. Especially in that final third of the season when we weren't playing very good clubs, particularly, and relegation threatening clubs. But the fact we scored, almost 50 goals across 15, 16 games shows you that when we've got the ball, we're really dangerous. Now, I know obviously going into the Championship is going to be slightly different, but again, was it a fluke that we actually played really well in 2 games against Burnley, who absolutely walked the division? Again, they kind of gave us time on the ball, didn't they, at Portman Road? And I think from what I saw at Turfmoor, I mean, we only lost in the last second there, didn't we? Maybe that is the style that you're going to see in the Championship, and that will suit us. I mean, 442 magazine have got us finishing 5th.
I saw that. Yeah. Phil Ham did the write-up in the 442 magazine. I've not seen it. I've seen a screenshot of it shared on social media. But 5th. I'll snap you. We're going to do our league preview next week, obviously. But I would, snap your hand off, to be brutally honest, if you said that.
Yeah. I probably, me too. There's lots of excitement, isn't there, that people think we could probably, finish second in League One and fly through the Championship. I mean, look, that's great thinking, but reality is somewhat different, I think. But yeah, if we can finish in the top 6 at the first shout, brilliant. But we will see. We will see. It's going to be tougher than what people think. I don't think we're going to be rocking up to places and rolling people over. I don't see that.
Well, not everybody, no, just Norwich, home and away.
They're finishing 12th according to 40.
Oh, there you go. You see that now I would take 5th and then finish in 12th. If you don't want to have your say, the link is in the chat. Do click it, get involved. I'll try and get as many comments as I can on the screen as well as we proceed. Colin's making friends in the West Country, by the way. He's saying him.
Oh, he's down there, isn't he?
Yeah. Plymouth fans were giving it a bit today after our 2 defeats yesterday, and he gave some back. Making friends with the locals. We like that on holiday. in the local beer garden. I see Dominic here. So much doom and gloom on social media after these friendlies. Perspective needed. Would anyone get upset over a loss in? Depends where you were looking, I think. In all honesty, I think depends where you were looking. A couple of comments perhaps I saw, but nothing.
I think it's just you've played 2 games in an afternoon, as we just said, with varying different 11s, with probably your starting 11 across 2 different sides. You're just trying things out, surely, and just getting some minutes under the belt. And like you say, Hirst, finally a bit of a platform to goals. Hopefully, you can take that into the Sunday. There's still a lot of games to go in there. They've got one Tuesday. They rock back to Austria, don't they, for Leipzig and Werder. So there's still lots to go.
It is.
3 weeks.
George Hirst obviously did score against Preston, and somebody in the chat mentioned a peach of a goal against Preston. It was a peach until I realised who the goalkeeper was that he scored it against, and it detracted it a little bit for me. I'm not going to lie, Matty. Who was it? Our friend Di Cornell.
Oh, right. He wasn't in goal in the first half, was he?
No.
Ed Woodman, I think, in goal in the first half, didn't they? He's got a great agent, Di Cornell.
He's got a great, yeah.
He's like, come to us from Northampton, and he's only finds himself in a higher division than us. You have to laugh, don't you?
Oh, you do. Just like have to laugh when you think back to that transfer show where I asked a Northampton fan, you know, could he play in the Championship? What was his thoughts? And he nearly laughed me out of the.
He's a very ordinary goalkeeper, and we were like, oh.
Ordinary was being polite. Stephen says Cornell's kicking was still poor. He says a bit of a harsher word there for those listening on audio platforms, of which, if you are, leave a 5-star review. That would be very much appreciated. Town TV also launched this week. Lots of content going on. Lots of chatter about that. £5 or $4.99 or whatever the hell it is.
$5.99, I think it is.
Good Lord, $5.99.
Going up.
It's going up even by the week. John B says, does anyone know if Town TV will show full match replays like iFollow?
Great question. This is a question I've been asking. See, I just wonder if it should just replicate in iFollow. So it's in their hands. You know what I mean? Are they actually offering anything different to what iFollow actually offers? Or they just, were fed up with iFollow and the constraints it probably brings. And so they're just doing their own one. Because, I mean, look, there's so many questions you can ask. I mean, there's one from John there. Well, they show the full match replays. Can I buy on a Tuesday night? I don't know, when we go to Southampton or whatever, can I buy the pass at 7 o'clock in the evening, but I'm travelling back from work or wherever it might be, and then watch the game spoiler free at 10 o'clock on Town TV? I don't know. There's none. It seems to me no. But these are all the kind of things that if you were watching.
Well, Crispy Teabag, great username. I think they said there'll be replays.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good. But that's not even been, there's none of that in there at the moment. Or can you watch spoiler free after the event? Or, with iFollow, I think you lost your stream, didn't you, after 5:15? So you'd buy the game for a tenner. If you wanted to watch it later, you couldn't do it. Very, all these things that, like you get with the NFL pass, Martin, and me with the MLB pass in the States. You've got everything you want there, can't you? You could watch a game a week later if you wanted to, if you didn't know the result. You could. They just seem a bit ill thought out, some of these things. But let's see what with the finer details are. But at the moment, it just looks like iFollow in Ipswich clothing for the minute, anyway. But
well, in terms of the, I mean, I suppose it gives them a little bit more freedom to charge the $5.99 to get some content that you wouldn't have got on iFollow, because iFollow purely was just for the games. This is now $5.99 for what. This has been a bit of a contentious point on social media, because a lot of the stuff that you were getting for free, and Billy Dalton asks earlier in the chat, has Town TV replaced Town's YouTube channel? Well, Town haven't posted on their YouTube channel now for 10 days. And in that space, you've had 2 friendlies and Hutchinson signing. I wouldn't say it's replaced it, but certainly a lot of the stuff that perhaps you could access through it is on there. You got McKenna, you got Morsey just been released on the Town social feed, but 30 seconds. The rest you can watch on Town TV. And a lot of the contentious point was the free stuff you were getting is now being put behind the paywall, as it were. What are your thoughts on that primarily, first of all? Because
that speaks volumes. And if they haven't posted on YouTube for 10 days and all this other content's pitching up on the Town TV app, I mean, fair play. I mean, look, is $5.99 a month a big deal breaker to people? Might be, I suppose. It's
another cost in a world of ever increasing costs, Matthew.
I don't think you can even buy a pint in the ground for $5.99, can you?
Well, you certainly can't get running hot water in the ground for $5.99.
Yeah, I bet a cup of tea's almost $5.99 in the ground.
You have to go to the only place I know. You've got to go and buy a cup of coffee just to wash your hands, because it's the only source of hot water you've got in the place.
It's like anything, isn't it? Look, if you can afford it and you want it, pay for it. Otherwise, just log onto the website and read news stories.
Yeah, I'll counter that, because obviously Stephen Perry says the interviews are free on the website. Hutchinson, has just arrived from Chelsea, a big club, top 6 club. Whether you like them or not, whether you support them or not, they're a top team in England. I would have liked to have seen a little bit of content, whatever it might have been, even it might have been a 30-second a minute on YouTube, because you still surely have to have an action plan on how to reach new fans, how to engage second team fans, whether you like them or not, whether you think people should have second teams or not, irrelevant. As a growing aspect, we had a little bit of this on midweek show where Cambridge, obviously Peterborough, you got that commentary going behind the paywall there.
Yeah.
YouTube is not your bread and butter. Town TV should be, but there's still going to be a plan, isn't there, of how we're going to reach and organically grow and bring new people into it.
Yeah, I do agree with that. You could use, so you're saying you could use YouTube as a conduit to taking people to Town TV. So you get, like you say, you get 30 seconds there. Watch the full interview on, I'm sure you'll probably see that.
His highlight package or whatever. You put a little bit of something together, particularly if you're signing somebody from a Chelsea, or you've got something that's going to go viral, or got something that people might be interested in that's not a Town fan. Like 10 days is as a YouTube content creator, that to me feels like a year. That's like, wow, that's that's a long time.
I think there's going to be an element of creativity needed then for this app, if that's what they're going to be doing, because I don't think it's a good idea just to be kind of replicating what you had on YouTube, on Town TV app, and charge people £6 a month for it. There's going to have to be a little bit more creativity around things. And I see they did like I think they did like a day in the life of Wes Burns in Austria, didn't they? These kind of things. I mean, sort of that kind of behind the curtain kind of stuff that people want to see. I mean, look, people always talk about, don't they? Like, oh, wouldn't it be great if Ipswich did a Sunderland Till I Die style documentary? Well, with the app, with this platform, and the fact that they are managing it themselves, it gives you kind of like, I don't know, it gives you all the resources you need in terms of to be able to give people what's it like behind the in the coaching ground Monday to Friday or whatever. I don't think it's enough to charge people and just put on what you used to have on YouTube. I think there's going to have to be kind of an element, a mini docu-series of something, of whatever it might be, or behind the scenes with the 21s, or where, all that kind of stuff. A little bit of creativity is going to be needed. Just uploading stuff that used to be YouTube is not going to, I don't think it's going to fly. Yeah,
and that's been the the sort of talking point. I'm just sort of looking at a random Premier League team, Burnley. They've got several video, Redmond is a claret. First interviews on there. You've got Brownhill, on Genk tests, having just been beaten by KRC Genk. Vincent Kompany's reaction, albeit only a minute of each of those interviews. I don't know how long they are in terms of if that's all you got, or if that was a snippet. Now come to Claret TV or whatever. But it just seems, I don't know whether it's going to be just for this while they get it launched or long term. It surprised me when Billy asked the question, is it replacing it? And I thought, well, I'll just check it out. 10 days is a long time.
They've got a team behind it, haven't they? They've got the lad who used to be on Soccer AM, Curly.
Mm-hmm.
He's on there. That James Zanowskis, is it? He's going to be one of the presenters.
James,
They've got Matt Holland, clearly going to be dividing his time between us and Charlton. There's some bits and bobs. I mean, look, Charlton's another one who've been doing their own platform for a while. You would think Ipswich have probably taken a look at people like Charlton, whoever has got their own platform, and seen what you can do. But I mean, look, the world's your oyster, really. I mean, come up with the creative ideas, and is there scope to do quick Q&A with McKenna, for example, half an hour, fans send their questions in, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I love Adrian. We didn't pay him for this, but he's just said all the content you need between games is on Talking Town.
It's the Stowe market. The Stowe market, massive.
And it's $4.99, a whole pound cheaper. Stephen Parry, maybe the data says YouTube ain't getting many new fans. We don't have the data. The average view is about 7,000. Don't sniff at it. That's what I would say, because you were a third tier team until last month. So, where is it going to go from this point on?
It'd be interesting to see how its audience grows as a championship side,
Well, following, this is why I'm surprised, because following this model that currently is the only one I've got to go on, it would seem not very well, because you've got 10 days of where you've signed a Chelsea player and 2 friendlies, and the last time you posted was George Hirst's signing, which just genuinely, as you can probably tell, surprised me. Anthony Steele, keeping my $5.99 a month in my pocket for the time being. If I find that I'm missing out on loads of good stuff, I may commit.
Probably sensible. Yeah.
Andy, good question. And I would say the answer is probably yes. Will we now have to pay for the Town in 5 videos?
I've never ever watched those.
Have you not?
Is that Town in 5 minutes, is it?
Yeah.
Well,
I've watched a couple.
What behind the scenes stuff is that?
I'll let people in the chat tell you what it is, because I've only ever seen 1 or 2 towards the end of the season when it was like, we're going up and I'm sort of loving life.
You was like, loving life, yeah.
Sharing guests, love that I can listen to commentary on Town TV wherever I am in the country. Crispy, including the subscription, access to live pre-match shows, audio commentary under 21 games at Portman Road and exclusive content, all the audio commentary for the. But I mean, under 21 audio commentary under. Well, hang on, at Portman Road though for those under 21
I would
games.
say
not even at Playford Road. Like
presumably audio commentary is your $2.50 you pay or whatever it is, £3 for the game day audio. If you're not overseas, and then presumably 21s is going to be a live feed from Portman Road, I would have thought.
Norman says, will they be switching more to the ITFC? Again, possibly they may switch to the ITFC podcast, but as a new fan or a fan that's not yet committed to Ipswich, and we want more of those because that's the only way the club really grows.
Yeah.
Are you going to download the ITFC podcast if you're on the line of... probably not, I'd say.
I'm not sure really why you'd listen to a club podcast, because what they're actually going to be telling you, it's just going to be a audio visual form of the match program, isn't it?
It is. Dom's got it.
Yeah.
Dom's kind of got it right, but now I do feel bad. He says, if I cancel my TT, I can afford a new club package, but I'm not going to. He likes it here. That's sort of like a bittersweet for me, because like, yay, but now
The problem with club stuff is they don't.
Sorry, Dom.
The problem with club stuff is it's going to be quite sanitized, isn't it? So you actually get. So the good thing is the pros of that is you do get to talk. You will get Ashton doing something on there, McKenna. You'll get all the players that you want, and probably Andy Warren interviewing them. But the questions are not going to be particularly hard hitting, are they? It's going to suit the club agenda. Be interesting to see how that turns out if we got off to a bit of a rough start to the season, and I don't know. Say we was bottom of the table at the end of September or whatever it might be. Be interested to see where that would go. We're putting them on here. It'd be quite vociferous, but on the club podcast, it's gonna, I don't know. It wouldn't wash so well, but interesting take. Like I say, audio visual of the club program, I think, is probably not saying much, but giving you access to quite a lot. If that makes sense.
I do feel sorry for Town fans in general, because you've had quite a lot of bumps in terms of EADT going behind the paywall, Town TV now taking a lot of the stuff that perhaps you were getting behind a paywall and saying, come and pay for that. Outside of perhaps TWTD and podcasts such as ourselves, Blue Monday, Naked Football when it returns, you're not got a lot of option in terms of where you get your Town sort of news from now that isn't behind a great big paywall.
Yeah, that's the world, though, isn't it? The streaming model. Everyone wants to make a pound note from it, don't they? That's the thing. I mean, look, you get some newspapers like the Daily Mail, for example, they're not behind the paywall. You go to somewhere like the Telegraph for the Times, that's behind the paywall. So, I mean, look, there's options there. You don't have to pay for it. You can stick with us. You can stick with Blue Monday. You can do what you want. But yeah, in terms of Ipswich,
but I'm biased. I create the content.
But again, if you're paying the paywall stuff for the Town stuff, I'd want some really good interviews.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not sure you're going to get that. I'm not sure you're going to get juice.
Not even juice stuff. Just entertainment. The sort of stuff you want to see. Like, you got half an hour, you got a cup of coffee, sit down, and you're entertained by something. It could be the diary of whatever. It could be this. It could be that.
A day in the life of Connor Chaplin. He gets up. He's taking his dog for a walk. Now we're getting ready to go to Portman Road because we're playing Leeds United this afternoon. They're the kind of things you'd probably pay for some money for. But I mean, just in terms of like rather sanitized interviews, I'm not sure that's worth that.
I'm sure that will come. But look, as a content creator, one of my major drivers or one of my major sort of parts of time is trawling through YouTube, looking at something and thinking, how can I take that from that space that it's currently in? It might be wrestling, it could be cricket, it could be golf, it could be entertainment, it could be a podcast about, whatever. And thinking, how can I transfer that to ITFC and make it work and adapt it and change it and tweak it, and I think a lot of content creators are the same. So I'm really intrigued to see what they bring in terms of where they've seen on Claret TV, on Posh TV, whatever, and thought, that's a really good idea. We can do that and put a spin on it. And that's where I'm really hoping the $5.99 comes to the fore, and that's what you're paying your money for.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah, absolutely.
There we go. So that's Town TV. Anything else, do let us know. We're bringing Phil at this point, get his thoughts. He can include his thoughts on the weekend's action. 2-1 defeats to Stevenage and, of course, our old friends Cambridge. Let's make a solemn promise right here and right now before we bring Phil in. let's never go back to Cambridge again, shall we? Never, ever. Never, because we're never great there, and it's never a good time.
Stevenage was one of my bugbears of if we stayed down, we'd have to play them. Do you remember?
It was. Yeah. And a defeat to Steve Evans. Phil, welcome in. Can we make that promise to each
Hey,
other?
Phil.
Yes, we
Never go
can.
to
I
Cambridge.
think Cambridge is just one of those grounds that, no matter how hard or how well we play, we're just not going to win there. Are we?
No.
I couldn't really care less about the results. All I'm more interested in is new signings and who's injured pre-season, and say the rest really doesn't really matter.
Very true. Very true. You've heard the chat tonight. We're half an hour in. We've got the Stevenage and Cambridge games. We also chat about where do you want to take us, Phil? It's your platform. Have your say, my man. The floor is yours.
I'm just looking forward to the new season. I've got a ticket to the Luton game on Tuesday. I'll be sitting there.
See you there.
What block? East Stand 5. There we go. That's where I'm sitting. Row 5, row 8, seat 114. There we go.
Mike Woods has got me a ticket for this game.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's really good.
Happy with that.
And
Good,
I'm kind of looking forward to watching the 2 German games on Town TV. I am a subscriber. I did sign up for it.
You did. You caved.
I will make my judgment over the coming weeks and months. But as far as I'm concerned, they've got teething problems because I was kind of hoping they'd have the Cambridge and Stevenage game on there, but obviously not.
The thing is, we can't complain about, or rather, we can't promote the club being more professional, Phil, and say, oh, isn't it great the club's more professional? We're looking more the business under Ashton. And then say, when they go professional, like, here's a paywall. Oh, it's too professional. Where's the club gone? Like, you can't have it best of both worlds, right, Phil? We're either professional moving forward into 2023, or we're still, with iFollow and one camera angle and no Matty Holland, etc., etc.
Have to make do with it.
Have to make do with it, he says.
I just want to ask Matty Phillips, how well do you think Town are going to do this season?
Keep that powder dry, Matt. We've got a preview next week.
We've got a show next week, Phil.
Keep that powder dry.
I mean, we've still got 2 weeks until the season starts, haven't we? So I mean, that's still a long time in terms of us to be able to strengthen, rivals around us to strengthen. It's going to be really interesting to see how Ipswich just do actually take the platform of last season, where we should have got 100 goals, 100 points, and see how that does actually translate into the Championship. I'm intrigued to see it. Look, there's lots of good clubs in the Championship. I'm not 100% certain that they're as good as what everyone else thinks they could be. Hence the reason why Luton got promoted on the fourth smallest budget in one of the smallest grounds in the Football League. But we'll wait and see. I feel like we're probably in a good space, but let's see what the next couple of weeks brings and in terms of signings. But I think we're in a much better space than we were when we was last in the Championship. That's for certain.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
absolutely. That said, Phil, these are the Moguls predictions for last year. Adders finishing 4th with Posh as champion. So how reliable of information you can take that, I really don't know, Phil. But it serves the purpose. Mike Baker, Gov, you need to charge $5.99 for a day in the life of the Gov. I'd be more tempted to pay for that. I don't think you would, Mike. I really don't. There'd
be a lot of budgerigars involved in that, I feel.
There'd be a lot of swearing at a computer. That's what we're going, or a WhatsApp group. Particularly over the weather today. That's caused outrage. Phil, where are we short? Because Billy Dalton in the chat says, where's our centre-half from Arsenal? Obviously that was a link. It's gone quiet. It's gone cold. Where are we short? Obviously centre-half being is still your number one aim, do you think?
Yeah, centre-half is probably the only spot now we need to strengthen. Do I think a makeshift defence of Disco, Dom, Wolfie, and maybe Davis as a back 3 at times? Do I think that's going to be strong enough? Time will tell. Can I think Dom Ball play at centre half? Yes, I do think he can play at centre half in the Championship, but let's be honest, he's not really a centre half by trade, is he? I mean, so we need another pair of legs, another experienced Championship pair of legs in that Town squad, for this season, just to give that back line some strength, give that back line some Championship depth, and that's what I want to see, before the season kicks off in 2 weeks' time. Just one centre half. That's really, I think, I think we're well covered everywhere else. Centre half for me.
Yeah,
but not the guy we've been linked with. What's his face? Cathcart.
He's too old. He's too old. 34. I'm saying there's no resellable value. I mean, say, yeah, well, what's happened to that trusty player that we were linked with? You know,
Rangers, isn't he? Is he the Rangers guy?
Trusty in the process.
I think if you did get someone like a veteran in, like a Cathcart, like we had with Keogh, I mean, he's just there to add, like you say, Phil, he's just there to add that experience, isn't he, rather than any kind of transfer value, whatever it might be. Just someone to bring the others along a little bit.
I want a centre half in that we've got 2 or 3 at least good years in him. I mean, say at 34, you'd probably say 1, maybe possibly 1.5 at most.
Yeah.
But then, if I said to you, here is a player called Sonny Aluko, free transfer, we're looking at him, what do you think? You'd probably say the exact same thing in the sense of not great stat-wise last couple of years. Is he somebody we should be looking at? No resellable value. McKenna obviously really values that leadership, that voice.
Yeah, he does.
Aluko and players of that age, Phil, bring to the dressing room, and that is what Cathcart would bring, having just played, I think, double-digit times for Watford last year in the Championship.
Yeah, where was Sonny Aluko when he first burst onto the scene? Was it Hull? He was highly rated as a younger player, and he's ended up here at Ipswich. So I'm wondering what went wrong with his career.
He'll always be Reading's Sonny Aluko for me. I don't know where he's been elsewhere.
I think he was Hull. You might be right. Actually,
is it Hull or was it Everton? I can't remember.
I can't remember. So great. Let's have a quick look. I mean, he did a spell up at Scotland, didn't he?
Was that Rangers? Was that Rangers?
Aberdeen and Rangers, actually.
Oh yeah. I
can't remember where he broke through.
While Matt does that, Phil, have you got one last thing for us this week?
You
don't have to have it. You can take weeks off.
I don't know. So I think my one last thing would be, I don't know. I would say, I don't know anything to say. I'm saying just wanted to say to Matt, you know, what have you been doing for the last 4 weeks? Where have you been? You know, what have you been doing?
We haven't got a long enough show for that, Phil. There's been things going on in the Phillips household.
Are you still the man from Del Monte this season?
I'm going to be. I've got my hats, so don't worry. I'm saving that for the start of the season. I'm just in this kind of pre-season lull at the moment.
Phil, we appreciate you coming on, my man. Look after yourself. Norman says all the Premiership sides are holding on to their squads during pre-season. I can see us signing a fringe Premiership centre-back in the next few weeks. A centre-back version of Leif Davis. Trevor, what's the rumour about Joe Rodon on loan from Spurs?
I heard that one.
I'm not ITK Crunch. He's not ITK Crunch.
Yeah, no, we're definitely not ITK.
We're definitly not ITK at the moment.
The problem you've got with signing players out of the Premier League on loan is they're going to be expected to play. Are we saying that Wolfenden is the mainstay in that back four, and then whoever comes in on the left-hand side of the defence would be the loan, the new strike, the new signing, or whatever it might be? Is that what everyone's thinking?
Which is why Cathcart makes sense, because if you're looking at Wolfie and Burgess as your front, as your preferred two, you're not, a bit like the George Hirst situation. A striker coming in perhaps would be the similar age in terms of Cathcart, early 30s, somebody who can still contribute, but is quite prepared to fight for the shirt and be a second maybe, or a third or whatever. Because Cathcart, I'm not Cathcart. I don't know personally, but I would have thought he's not arriving expecting to be the number one centre half.
No, we did kind of float this idea in the kind of the new signings we looked at. Do you remember I said I went back to Sonny Bradley. He's ended up going to Derby in the end. So someone of that ilk, I think, does kind of like tick the boxes for McKenna and his coaching staff. It's the reason why they got Keogh in last season. We'll just have to wait and see. I mean, look, they do like experience, as you just said. They do like having the fact that, you've got Aluko there, not with particularly great stats over the last couple of years. No. And it's certainly through McKenna's campaign at Town thus far. Yet he's got himself another deal without particularly contributing a lot on the pitch. I do think he contributes a lot behind it and is a kind of figure that they really value. We said before, didn't we? You can't really buy that kind of experience. I mean, look, we've just been looking up. Aluko started at Birmingham City, went Aberdeen, Rangers, Hull City, Fulham, Reading. I mean, he did 90 appearances at Hull City, 50 at Fulham. I mean, that's great experience, really, in and out and around the Premier League. If you can get someone like that in defence, I think that'll probably tick a box for McKenna. And
we're very much culture and standards driven, aren't we? And it's all about driving those
Yeah.
standards, driving that culture, bringing that experience. And obviously,
They loved having Keogh there, didn't they, last season? He said
Exactly.
playing such a huge role, and even if he wasn't playing, he was sat on the bench. It really lent itself to the fact that I thought he was going to be a coach this season. The Lee Grant connection, they knew each other well from Derby, which is how I think that came to fruition in the first place. But he's gone off to Wickham now, hasn't he?
Yeah, Stephen says I said centre back will be a buy. Dom says why writing Burgess off.
That's a good point. I mean, you know, I mean, until the last third of the season, I didn't think Burgess was that great for us, particularly. He seemed to sort of grow with the side. How many goals did we actually let in the last 15 games?
Not many.
Three or something stupid. And Burgess played his part. You have to give him credit. He did play his part in that. You know, it's the sums of the side, isn't it? It's not just down to him. He did play his part in all of that. But of course, we've still got the conundrum of the fact that Dynastian's injured at the moment and who's going to play right back at Sunderland in a couple of weeks. Looking like Don Ball at the moment. He keeps playing there, doesn't he?
Yeah. Norman says one thing that surprised me during the window is lack of foreign signings. I thought the recruitment team would have found us some gems outside the UK.
That's probably easier said than done, I think. If Ipswich are interested in players, and I think other clubs are going to be interested in players, just because we're interested, doesn't mean they're going to sign for us. You know, I think with anything, there's no secrets in football. I think once you get into the Championship and you're interested in A, B, or C players, you're going to get at least a dozen plus clubs also going down that road.
Stephen Parry, Arsenal are back next week. I think let's see where Trusty goes. If it's not him, we'll have someone lined up. Somebody who's certainly not writing Burgess off is this man here, Mr. Mike Brown. Mike, welcome in.
Hello,
Good evening. How you doing, guys? All right?
Yeah, doing okay. Thank you, mate. So, centre half. Who you signing? Why you signing them? Or why you're not signing them?
Well, I wouldn't sign Cathcart. I'm sorry, but 34. No, not for me. It's just another Keogh situation. You know, I mean, he looked awful when he played last year, didn't he? Keogh at times. So look, we do need. I'd look at maybe bringing in I'd bring in a couple of centre backs, to be honest. You know, I really would. I think there's two more players I'd bring in, and that'd be it at the moment. The way the squad is. Look, fans. Yesterday, fans losing their head on Twitter and social media over the two games against, you know, Cambridge and Stevenage. I'm like, training games. You know, they are training games.
Yeah.
No disrespect, but they are. You know, you had half the first team squad at Stevenage, half the first team squad at Cambridge.
Yeah.
And, you know, and people losing their minds because we are conceding goals. That's something I have noticed that we have started to do again in this close season, conceding goals. Big concerned. You know, people hammering, giving Burgess stick. I'm like, well, I've seen a few highlights and Burgess is not at fault for any of them. So I'm starting to wonder what people see. But again, obviously, it's what people look at. For me, you've got to bring a centre back. Did I hear right? Phil said Wolford and Cathcart and Leif Davis is a back three. I'm like, what? Or Dominic Ball. Leif Davis?
Dominic Ball,
yeah. Look, he played there with QPR, didn't he? He played the centre half for QPR. So that is, look, he can play there. The job. So
he can, yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah, you're right. He can play there. But whether or not, as Phil said, whether or not you actually want him there as a round peg, square hole kind of thing, I don't know. He's a midfielder, really, anyway.
Is that a round peg in a square hole though? Because if he's played there, that's kind of he's kind of a universal player, isn't he? We know he's a defensive midfielder, but you know, you look at him, he's got that present about him. You know, so you know, it's maybe bring in one quality centre back and just have Don Ball as a backup sort of fourth. I certainly wouldn't play Leif Davis in a three.
Is the answer in the house already, Baggett? Or are you sticking him back out on loan?
Baggett's a hard one, isn't it? You know,
it's difficult. Yeah, well, it's a conundrum.
Look, I mean, at the end of the day, it's the only Kieran McKenna will make that decision. He'll make that decision based on what he's doing with Baggett. I do. After what happened end of the season and how we played and how McKenna sort of grew into the season, you know, there was times, you know, where I did lose my head a little bit, you know, and said, oh, you know, what's this clown doing? But the reality is, in hindsight and what he's done, he deserves massive credit. He's got us out of that crap league, and
Yeah.
you know, we're back in a league now where, you know, we just need to consolidate. And fans talk about, oh, we all automatic, or we want playoffs. Look, if we get playoffs, great. If we get automatic, even better. But for me, top half finish, I'll be happy. You know, I think.
Me too, yeah.
Yeah, I think we've got to be a little bit careful, not get carried away. Yes, we've got a very good squad. Yes, we've got a very good manager. There's no getting away from that. You know, bringing a centre back. People talking about maybe a possible another striker, but for me, I think there's enough. We've got enough about us to compete in this league. I just feel that maybe that centre back role is something that I would have sort of certainly looked at very much so at a very, you know, end of last season into the sort of, you know, towards the end of the season in right now like we are now. I probably have got him in sooner if I'm honest. But again, you know, you got to trust the process, haven't you? You got to trust McKenna because obviously, you know, he's the one in charge.
Is everyone losing faith in the fridge then, Mike?
Look, he's been injured. You know, he's got to come back, hasn't he?
Yeah.
There is a little bit of a question mark on Fridge. No two ways about it. There was a few games sort of when he did play, he wasn't particularly, especially on that left-hand side of Wolfie. I think Fridge plays better in Wolfie's position. So for me, it'd be like either Fridge or Wolfie, you know, Burgess or Don Ball. You know, I think that sort of balances out. And if you're going to play a three, I think Danassian probably plays at that right of the three. If you're going to do that, you know, Burgess, Wolfie or Fridge and Danassian on that right-hand side of the three, because I just think, you know, Danassian's got that ability to, you know, not much gets past him. You know, I know he's getting on in years and people saying, oh, you know, Harry Clark that can play in front of Danassian on, say, on the wing-back role, say we were to switch to a three, say 3-4-3 or 3-5-2 or three, you know, whatever. You know, we've got that versatility in certain players that can play forward and make, you know, and help with the kind of setup that Kieran McKenna wants to do. So look, bring in a centre back, yes, and then we'll just see what happens with the rest of the squad.
Yeah, you said that when you first came on, you know, a couple in at centre back. My question to you is, if you don't want Cathcart, and you've made some valid reasons there in regards to why you wouldn't want a Cathcart type, who are you going to get in at centre half? What's the incentive if you're a player currently anywhere to come and join Ipswich if you're not replacing Wolfie and Burgess? That is, Mike, because currently you've got Wolfie and Burgess, you're 1 and 2. If I know that signing, where's the incentive? Because surely a big
you
signing
could
in
argue
terms
the
of
same with Jack Taylor, couldn't you? Because no disrespects, right? But why would you be dropping Luongo and Morsey right now?
Because Jack Taylor's a better version of
Really?
Luongo.
Really?
Absolutely,
Really?
yeah.
Really?
I will say that without any fear in my heart. Not one ounce of doubt in Jack Taylor. Not one.
I would argue right now, no. Right now,
every stat last year told me Jack Taylor's a better midfield player.
Stats can be, look, stats can, you know, no.
Yeah, but they suit my argument right now, Mike, so I'm going to use it, all right?
Look, we had Joe Pickett, a prime example where stats are completely devoid. Do you know what I mean? Look, Jack Taylor's a very good player and he's one for the future, but right now you don't drop Luongo and Morsey. They've got to start. You know, what they did towards that end of the season, their partnership, their understanding of each other, you don't drop either of them right now, you know? And, you know,
we shall see, won't we?
You ease a player like Jack Taylor into the squad, you know, over time. But right now, for me, he's not a foregone conclusion, foregone starter. I'll be shocked if he is. But then again, I'm not the manager. Kieran McKenna is.
I don't think we get full-blown starters anymore in football. I think we certainly get, you know, that rotation coming in. But Matt, do you see where I'm going with that train of thought? Instead of if I'm a Premier League team,
I was
playing.
I was thinking this myself today in terms of how the midfield would start. I mean, it'd be harsh on Luongo and Morsey to break that up. I feel like Luongo played such a huge role in us getting promoted.
Massive.
You can't get too misty-eyed about all this, can you? It's now a different campaign in a different division, and you know, different players to see, different, you know, against different opposition. But the fact remains that I think Massimo and Morsey were fantastic. But you have to think, Mike, that Taylor has been bought in. The fact that they've chased him so relentlessly over the last 7 months to actually get him in, you've got to think he's probably going to start games. But you've got 2 positions there and 3 really good players. So, like you say, that's a conundrum for McKenna. For me, as a fan, I loved
Good
watching
conundrum.
you and Massimo together. I thought they were great. Loved it.
Well, I mean, if you look at when we got the last time we went to the Premier League, yeah, we didn't mess around with the team too much. And we brought some players in, but we didn't mess around with it too much.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And no disrespect. So I remember people saying back then, oh, you know, there's no way the likes of, you know, Matty Holland or players are going to be able to do it in the Premier League. Internationals.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, but the midfield two weren't the wrong side of 30, were they?
Well, Gilton was, wasn't he?
Yeah, but not the midfield two.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can't disagree with that. No.
But Gilton could be any age, though. He could pick a pass.
But we're not in the
He
Premier
didn't need
League.
his legs, did
We're in
he?
the Championship.
But we're in the champ, of course, yeah.
Yeah. Let's look, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We are in the Championship, and that's bloody brilliant to be back there because, yeah. So, but I tell you what, going on to Town TV, right?
Which is a great segue.
They've got to offer a hell of a lot for me to sign up for that. $5.99, no respects, but $5.99, right, is literally £1. Man United TV, Liverpool TV, Chelsea TV, all these other TV, Premiership TVs and stuff like that, they come out. They offer so much programs, so much. They have reruns of matches. They have under 18s live. They have the under 21s live, under 23s live. Do you know what I mean? All their friendlies live. And I know Ipswich are on about doing the next 2 German games live, or the Dutch games, whatever they are. I do think, you know, if Ipswich can go down that path, I mean, look, if 30,000 fans sign up, that's not far off £200,000 they're going to get from it. And that's without the other, you know, the other bits. And, you know, we know that more than 30,000 are going to sign up to it. You know, I would argue, because it's not just a fan base here. You've got, obviously, a fan base. They're trying to spread the fan base across the world, aren't they? And I know that we are not on the same level of fan base as United and Liverpool and all that. So, obviously, you know, there is ways of offering live football without having to spend thousands and thousands of pounds, especially if you've already got the infrastructure set up. I just think there needs to be a lot more to offer than just, you know, the odd interview here or, you know, the exclusive. And I think I'm going to be honest, I think you know, with the current climate and the current situation with the economy and how things are on the rise, everything is sort of so expensive right now. To take away the YouTube channel, well, not take away, but to reduce content on the YouTube channel for those who can't afford it. And there's thousands of fans out there, not just Ipswich fans, that can't afford these subscriptions. They're going to miss out on this stuff. And, you know, and I just feel it's a little bit, you know, look, okay, so you have with the YouTube, so Town TV does a massive interview with Kieran McKenna, and then it's released 2 weeks later out on YouTube. I get that, because then you get to watch it if you're a member before anyone else. But then it's got to be released on YouTube so that people that can't afford it, you know, so you get your exclusive membership watch. You can watch it and all that, and 2 weeks later it's released on YouTube, you know, or whatever social media.
Yeah,
and then that way, you know, that to me offers a chance for those who can't afford it, or those who, you know, some people have got priorities, you know, and that's the thing, you know, when you got a big family, or you got a family, you got priorities, mortgages and stuff like that. There's got to be priorities, and I think it's very important that the club realise that. So if they start taking away stuff on YouTube or not putting it on there, you're penalising those many fans who, you know, I mean, I was one of those fans many years ago where I couldn't afford to go to games. So, you know, everybody's been there at some point. I think it's important that we show a little bit of, clubs show a little bit of sort of perhaps a common sense on that side of things. But look, Town TV, great idea. Love the idea, as long as the package is worth the value that they're you know,
value for money,
the monthly subscription. Do you know what I mean? I mean, look, I subscribe to Talking Town each month, right? Now, at the end of the day, it's a £5 for me, so that's how much I pay, you know. And you know, some pay more, some pay maybe less, whatever. But at the end of the day, I choose to do that based on supporting a friend and supporting the show. So, do you know what I mean? I choose to do that, and And I feel that I've got massive amounts of value out of the show, and I'm able to come on here and have my say, whether I'm right or wrong, or whether it's an opinion that someone doesn't agree with or do agree with. So I think it's very important that 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 the club get this right, because it could be a massive success if they get it right.
100%. And thank you very much, Mike. I really do appreciate it. Thanks
No,
for the
that's all
support.
right, mate.
It means a lot. Look after yourself, all right?
And you guys, you take care.
Good
Cheers, Mike.
man.
See ya.
Just to sort of revisit the point in terms of where I was going with the incentive.
Yeah.
Mike saying he wants a couple of centre halves there. If you've got Wolfie and Burgess as your 1 and 2, if you're a Premier League side, is there the incentive to send your player out on loan to a club they're not going to get the game time? Probably not. As a player, do you want to go there and risk your career stagnating? Which is why I'm kind of leaning towards Taylor being the preferred option, because it's a big move for Jack Taylor, this, like, in the sense of he's played well in, at Posh. It's a
Taken the
move
championship before.
Yeah, it's a move to a bigger club. He said in the interview himself there was other options, but I always wanted to come here.
Yeah.
You don't want to come and stagnate a little bit, do you? And sit and find game time a premium. You particularly at his age or any other centre half's age at 24, 5, 6. Where's the incentive unless you're signing a player for 5 million and it's clearly undisputed? Number one guy's just arrived.
Well, we're working on the premise that Moulsey stays at the club. I mean, we've already had these rumours this week, have we not? With Saudi Arabia and things. He's at the back end of his town career. Let's not beat around the bush a little bit. What is he, 32, 33, something along those lines? He's got a couple of years left at Bournemouth Road, maximum, I would say. Maybe this season is his last season at Bournemouth Road. So it might be that he decides to cash in. Who could blame him? It's part of a team that got us promoted, and it'll forever be remembered. So it might be that you actually, at some point, see Taylor and Longo as the two. Or
with
Taylor
Morsey's suspension record, you probably will anyway at some point. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you. All right. Flipping to the centre midfield players for a while, away from the centre halves. If Henderson's worth 12 million, what is Sam Morsey worth?
Well, in terms of a transfer fee, what would he be worth?
Just live in that world. We know Sam's come out and said news to him. Didn't say it was completely off the table, just said it was news to him.
Yeah.
But let's live in that world for a minute. If Hendo's worth 12, because people were saying 5, 6, 7 million on Twitter on the day it was
I think we bought him from Middlesbrough for maybe no more than 200 grand on that deadline. I don't know. I think if he was to leave, there'd be some kind of token fee, I suppose.
Really? You don't even think it'd be substantial in terms of even like Jack Taylor 1.5 million money recoup?
Maybe. Yeah, that's what I'm calling maybe as a token fee. Somebody's going to go. He's going to go to the land of milk.
Can I be Mrs. Phillips? I mean, those are token fees in the Phillips household. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Good
don't know. If you're from a legit football club and you're looking at Sam Morsey, look, if he's got a couple of years left with us, he's only really probably got a couple, and you've got good players going over into Saudi Arabia, whatever level he might be playing at. I don't know if it's going to be at their top division or whatever it might be. Then they're not going to just throw money away on someone who's going to give them just a season or something. I don't know. It's a weird one, that one. It's a weird one. I mean, for his own sake, look, there's all sorts of issues with Saudi Arabia and what we call sports washing. We've covered it a lot on the boxing show, haven't we? For everyone to get the ump about it is a bit too late now. Golf are invested there, boxing's invested there. You're now seeing Premier League footballers going there. So Saudi are now a mainstay player. And if you're at the end of your career and you want to go and make a few more million, which you ain't going to earn at Ipswich, and it's probably a good idea to go. If the principle and the morality of that sits with you as a person, you can go. You can do it. You don't got a gun to your head. You don't have to go there. But you can probably set yourself up for the next few years if you were to do that. What the value of Moulsey leaving Ipswich would be, I don't know particularly.
Fair enough.
I mean, he arrived for peanuts. He could just go for peanuts. But I think if he's still serious about his career, I mean, at least I would say at least do another season at Bournemouth Road and see where it takes you.
Obviously, the week ahead, you've got Luton midweek. We're all going to be there. Hopefully do a live match reaction show after Luton. But that's what the week ahead. To finish the week that's been, Hutchinson arrived on loan from Chelsea, got an assist yesterday. The cricket guys are in here in 29 minutes. So if you're a cricket fan, if you're frustrated, if you're angry, like why aren't the Test series moving? Why are they not proceeding with 2023 and then not the 1800s? That's the show for you. Get involved in that one here in 29 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Just get a drink. Although if you're an England fan like me, you've probably been drinking all afternoon with how frustrating Test cricket really is. But Hutchinson arrived on loan, assist yesterday. What are your thoughts on the young player on loan for the season?
I mean, really exciting player. I think, again, let's not get too excited. This guy comes in at 19 years of age. He's been touted as maybe the new Raheem Sterling by people who have floated around that world a little bit. But don't look. We all got excited when Louis Barry rocked up. Barcelona Academy. Goes to a Premier League club in Aston Villa and couldn't pull up trees. I think Amari Hutchinson looks like he's got a little bit more about him than probably what Louis Barry had. He appears to be a right-sided player, but all left foot. But I mean, look, flair players can flatter to deceive sometimes, can't they? Look at Carl Edwards. 1 minute he looks like a world beater, and the next he looks like he wouldn't even get into a conference side. So he's coming to Ipswich for a reason, isn't he? Because Chelsea want him to get experience, and I think with experience as a teenager, turning 20 with us, he is going to be highs and lows. But I certainly think he's going to be a great acquisition. When he actually hits his stride and gets in the groove, when that needle hits the groove, I think it's going to be a really good player. I mean, look, he got an assist inside the first 2 minutes yesterday, whatever it was, for the Leif Davis goal, I think it was.
Yeah, he did. Lovely cross as well. Really good cross.
Yeah,
really good.
So very exciting, but I still think people probably just need to just be a bit chilled with him, because I think teenagers are just going to be up and down. Look at Carl Edwards, a great flair player, but up and down. And I think Amari is probably going to be a little bit similar to that, I would have thought.
Yeah, we'll cover this in more detail as through the season, but certainly next week we do our season preview. But I really do think, as things stand, Ipswich Town's season will purely rest on whether they can keep Burns, Chaplin, and Broadhead fit.
Yeah,
and if they can't, just how well the stand-ins do. Because right now, Matt, Hutchinson, Edwards, Harness, and Jackson, that's 4 massive question marks at championship level as opposed to what you're going to get from them if they have to play over a period of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. And and in the championship, Saturday, Tuesday can get grueling. That's a lot of question marks. There's not real, like Raksaki, for example, proven ability at men's level. You're not looking at that at the moment thinking, this player has got proven ability at the championship. Now, I know Raksaki hasn't got that yet either, but I would like one more in the door in that area that's got a bit of proven ability at this level that gives me confidence should Burns' injury persist, should Chaplin have a suspension or whatever. You've got that.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't disagree. It's interesting you should say that, because you've just spent 1.5 million on a forward who hasn't got any experience in the championship in George Hirst, right?
Absolutely. So again, more question marks.
Yeah, there is a question mark there. Yeah, I mean, look, I feel like probably Jackson might move on by the time the season starts. Maybe even Harness. We'll have to wait and see. Now, whether or not, but then you're now looking at players of better quality to come in and replace them. There's still loads of window left, isn't there? Look, it don't even shut until the end of August. But I mean, in terms of the season starting in 2 weeks, that's not a lot of time to get a couple of new faces in if you wanted to, and bed them in and make sure they got some kind of impact against Sunderland. You'd probably have to be looking at this week, wouldn't you, I think, for that to happen. But lots of twists and turns. Season's about to start. We've still got 6 weeks of the transfer window to go. We'll just have to wait and see. But what did Mark Ashton actually say on this very, very platform? By the time the season starts, she's never quite got the squad you want anyway. Any manager that tells you that is lying. So it will go down to deadline day on September the 1st, whatever it might be.
Certainly will. ITFC Mad Morse is too important to let go this season. Why would we let him go for less than 1.5 million? What would be the worth if someone like Leeds came in for him?
It would be a huge miss. We were discussing this the other day.
More the emotional for me than the playing aspect.
But if you look at his playing aspects, I mean, he barely puts a foot wrong. Look, we can only go on League One, which is going to be a very different,
whole new ball.
Into the Championship is a whole different ball game. I do agree. But what we can go on is the fact that very rarely made mistakes, good in the tackle,
Yeah.
Very good at finding a blue shirt. It's amazing how many footballers can't actually pass to someone in the same shirt as them over 10 yards, of which Wolsey can do. I feel like probably he's been a little bit of a victim of where's he actually playing, because he's not box-to-box midfielder, really. He's the enforcer. He's your CDM. He's your, you break up the play and then give it to a Jack Taylor or give it to a Broadhead, and away we go. But for large parts of last season, he was box-to-box, wasn't he?
Yeah.
It seemed like ludicrous. Certainly,
He shouldn't have been, but he was.
Certainly wasn't the role that actually Paul Cook had brought him in for originally. But I feel like he would be a massive miss. It's not beat around the bush there. I think he would be if he was to leave. Again, going back to what we said earlier, what would the fee be? Oh, God knows. Interesting dynamic. I watched that one with interest.
Likewise. Being Frank and Ipswich Town, welcome in, Frank. Hope you could join us next time. We click that link. I think Hirst will fit in very nicely in the Championship, and he's already scored a Premier League team. He scored against the Premier League team last season when he scored at Burnley. Yes. There we go. Right. Cricket's in 20 odd minutes. Do get involved with that. But until then, that is the Media Mogul. I am the Gov. You'll see me again should we sign a player. But if not, have a great time. Enjoy. Hit the like, subscribe. And yeah, have a great week.
All the best.
In a bit.
You make me smile when I think of you. If I